Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and the Warriors won in Houston yesterday. Actually, I think it was the last game of the evening. That is, I guess, an upset. The Warriors are the 7 seed, the Rockets the 2 seed. But with playoff Jimmy before yesterday, the Warriors were 24-7. That doesn't sound like a 7 seed to me. Konata Edwards, not a scribe on Twitter, CBSSports.com, joins me on the Adam Gold Show. Almost feel like the Rockets have been done dirty by the system because, again, with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, the Warriors are playing at a higher clip than all but I think, 3 teams in the league?
Basically, but the thing is, this is also on the league because if we remember, Jimmy Butler could be had by anybody, including Houston. Houston could have solidified their title case and been like, okay, we can go get a Jimmy Butler that'll put us over the top, that'll give us something against an OKC or against an LA Lakers team in the second round if they got that far, to where if they did that, they'd be fine. But no, they chose not to. So at the same point, it's not fair to Houston, but at the same point, this could have been prevented.
Well, it could have been prevented by the Rockets, but I go back to the time where Jimmy Butler had attituded his way out of Miami.
Fair.
And there was zero indication that this was going to happen. I thought the Warriors took a leap of faith.
Well,
right?
I'm not sure. Is it really a leap of faith, or is it a leap of desperation? They had to do something. Golden State had to do something.
No, that's why I said it was a leap of faith. If it doesn't work out, all right, we're bad. We'll maybe we make the play-in tournament. Maybe we don't, but we'll retool. The following year, and try to get something out of the last year. How many years Steph Curry has left. So it was an easier shot for them than a team like Houston, who was, playing so well with so many good young players, to, even break up some of the core in order to bring in Butler.
Yeah, but I don't know. How many of those guys are, because look at Memphis right now.
Right.
Memphis is on the opposite end of getting their doors blown off.
Holy cow.
And they were, and remember, they were a couple of years ago, John Morant and everybody, I'm good in the West. I'm this, I'm that. And then you see how things change, right? You could have a really good playoff core or a good young core and then realize, oh, my God, it's not the thing I thought. It's not what I pictured here right now.
All right, put yourself, real quick, put yourself in the position of we're hosting, you and I are hosting in Houston. It's January, and it's actually earlier. It's probably November when Jimmy Butler started putting his rear end on his shoulders down in Miami. Put yourself in position then, with the Rockets playing well. Would you have advocated for a trade for him? You would?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
man, you have a crystal ball?
No, not even that. It's not even that. It's not. Here's the thing. Not even that. I don't appreciate what Jimmy Butler does, but the one thing I know he does is he shows up in the playoffs and he gets you at least 1 or 2 rounds. He's good enough to get you 1 or 2. That's the thing about him. As bad as you think he may be, or that, again, it's as terribly as it's always going to end. He's going to get you a round or 2. And for a team that young, with guys like Jalen Green that kind of know how to play but don't really know how to figure it out, for a guy like Alperen Şengün, who is a dynamite, might be baby Jokic, that good. You just needed that one guy to make sure that you got past the Lakers and probably were going to be in a rock fight with OKC.
Right.
You needed that guy. If you were going to be that good and if you were going to take those kind of steps to take the next step to get Jimmy Butler. Now, granted, the price in November was absolutely not what the price was going to be in January.
Right.
So would I have paid for it in November? Maybe not, but the closer we got to the deadline, the more it kind of made sense for Houston.
So do you think Jimmy Butler, as he was get it. He was sizing up Sengun on the shot, the 19-footer that basically ended. Do you think he was saying, "You guys could have had me then, and now I'm sending you home"? He probably was. What do you make of what he has done for the Warriors? He has seemingly put. Right now they're on the opposite side of OKC. They won't have to deal with that. They could be sitting in the Western Conference Finals very easily.
Yes, they could. And the only thing is, are they going to get past a Minnesota team that has size? And that's the one thing that we noticed with Memphis. Memphis gave Golden State a whole bunch of trouble in that playing game because they were bigger and stronger. If Minnesota gets past the Lakers, and I'm not saying that's a guarantee right now.
You did just a second ago. You just put the Warriors and the Timberwolves against each other.
I kind of did because the way those two teams won does not make me feel good about the others. Like, it was one of those things where you could see it's easily replicable. Like, and I hate to dissuade from this. I hate to distract from the question that you asked, but the ease that the Lakers gave up open threes to Minnesota, even if they're not a great shooting team, was way too easy for them to get those points.
Yeah.
The way that Anthony Edwards got whatever he wanted on the switch against Luka or whomever he wanted, not a good sign. Nickeil Alexander-Walker having a game where that's easily replicable. Or next time it might be Jaden McDaniels. Or maybe Mike Conley turns back the clock. Those kind of games are the things that make you worry about it. It's the same thing with Houston and Golden State to a degree, where that, again, we didn't even get the Steph game yet. We're going to get one or two of those.
Right.
Those are coming. That's the problem with what the Houston Rockets, and they just look like a team that had a tough time scoring in the regular season, are going to have an even tougher time, especially with the fouls not being called nearly as much. At some point, they're going to have to start scoring in bunches, and they can't do it right now.
Konata Edwards, CBS Sports, is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show at Not of the Scribe on Twitter. When you said the Steph game, you know where it took me? I kid you not. You said
Boston?
No. It took me to the Olympics.
Yes.
When Steph I'm sorry, we are winning the gold medal. I am taking all of the gold medals. That's where it took me, because we hadn't gotten any of that until the semifinals in the Olympic basketball tournament. Are the Lakers? You sort of alluded to it, but are the Lakers in trouble because they can't defend Minnesota?
Yes, but it's a multi-phase problem. One, like outside of Dorian Finney-Smith and maybe Austin Reeves, who do you trust to actually guard their man for the Lakers right now?
Only LeBron.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
And then on top of that, name me the big man you trust on the Lakers.
Kareem.
Exactly. And Kareem is older than both of us combined.
He's working he's got an ice cream truck in the Capital One commercials.
Absolutely.
I like that.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, those two problems are big problems, and it's kind of why they traded for Mark Williams and then realized they checked the Carfax on Mark Williams and realized we can't do that. Now, again, they may go revisit that in the summer. Who knows? But needless to say, they have a problem. They have a big man problem, and I don't know how they solve it. Unfortunately, this was going to be a problem all year, and Chris Finch is good enough a coach to where he's going to exploit every single fix that J.J. Redick can throw out there. He's going to fix, because this is not a scheme problem. This is a roster problem that's going to dictate a scheme problem at the end of the day.
This is what I thought was going to be a problem for them when they made the trade, but they won so many games, they looked so good that it really wasn't a problem until I guess it was going to be a problem. And just on the low, I actually would love to taste cookies and Kareem as an ice cream. I would love to taste that. Not of the Scribe is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So the Thunder won by about $1 billion. over the Grizzlies. The game was it wasn't really a game. It was a glorified scrimmage.
That was an enjoy your Easter meal. That was an enjoy your Easter meal game.
I mean,
you can get a whole bunch of brownie points, hanging out with the family, look at the TV, and then I'll be like, oh, that's interesting, and then go back, enjoy your Easter meal, pretend that you care about your family, and then by the time the real game started, then you could go pay your full attention to that.
That was, I mean, I don't even know what to make of something like that, other than we're going to be here. I mean, maybe Memphis, like, we'll see what happens in Game 2. Like, I sometimes I hesitate to put too much emphasis, too much importance on the first game of a series. But man, 50 points is 50 points in a playoff game. And even if, I mean, Memphis could play twice as well as they just played and get blown and just get completely blown out. Because if you lose by 50, you probably could have lost by 80.
And probably should have if they played their entire start. But what I would tell you, Adam, is that part of that is the fact that the Memphis Grizzlies had to play 2 extra games because they did not handle business and get a top 6 seed. The NBA play-in is working, and that's not a point that we should argue. But also at the same point, this was a team that did fire their coach 2 weeks before this happened. Things like this are going to happen when you change the continuity in the 8th inning. Like, these things do happen.
Right.
So, again, for me, this just tells me that Memphis has a lot of changes that they're going to make in the offseason. And I don't know if that's trading Ja. I don't know if that's trading Jaren Jackson Jr. I like Zach Edey. He looks completely out of place in this series. There's a lot of this where just they're in transition. They're in the midst of finding themselves after thinking they found themselves with 2 top 5 picks that have just hit dynamitely. And now the evolution, the league has figured them both out, and now it's a little bit easy against a team that is loaded to the gills with first-round picks and is still loaded with first-round picks when things get too expensive. And they might be the best team in the league right now.
Konata Edwards, not a describe, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, a team that also changed their head coach with 14 minutes before the end of the regular season. The Nuggets were a very narrow winner in Game 1 at home to the Los Angeles Clippers, who they also might – I mean, the Clippers could come out of that side of the bracket, too. We could be looking at Kawhi versus Steph in the Western Conference Finals and be looking for a calendar to find out what year it is.
Yes.
What do you make of that series? And I have one other series I want to ask you before we have to say goodbye.
That is a series that I never thought, again, the Russell Westbrook roller coaster, where he potentially wins them the game, potentially costs them a game, wins them the game again, and then nearly costs them again. Like, the Russell Westbrook roller coaster alone was worth watching.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But Kawhi and Harden having as many turnovers as they did, like 26 points, again, the Denver Nuggets turned, like, I want to say 16 of their turnovers into 26 points. That in a game that almost went to double OT. I think that's a big thing. They cut down the turnovers. Your stars have to be your stars. They got to cut down the turnovers. Harden was great in Game 1, turned the ball over too much. Kawhi Leonard wasn't so great, but I'm waiting for one of those two. Like, I'm waiting for the Kawhi Leonard game. I'm waiting for that. But that being said, I think the death of the Denver Nuggets is a little bit exaggerated. I think there's a good chance we might see Jokic versus OKC, and if that's the case, that's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, no question about it. By the way, there's always the longest line for the Westbrook roller coaster. I mean,
oldest ride, longest lines. There's a reason why it's a very popular line.
That's right.
Ride.
And you have to be taller than the bottom of the sign in order to ride it. All right, final thing. The Knicks needed a 21-0 run to beat the Pistons. 21-0. Like, look, I'm sort of a Knicks fan. Like, I grew up a Knicks fan. I'm not, super into it.
You haven't been able to wash that stain out of the shirt. I understand.
Yeah, it's not like Jets fan. Jets fan, that's easy. That's easy to get rid of.
Exactly.
The Knicks have been like flirting with being good now for a while. I mean, they're legitimately good. They're the 3rd seed in the East. But I think Detroit is just. I think Detroit is one of those teams that has an eerie confidence about it. I just wonder what the impact is of having a game you think you've got and not getting it, and then what happens in game 2.
I thought that this was going to be the series where it was going to be Detroit in 6 or Detroit in 7. Then you blow that game, and then on top of that, Isaiah Stewart is now hurt. I have concerns that this series is going to end a lot quicker than we think, and the Knicks, who only play 6 or 7 guys, might end up getting a lot of rest for their second-round opponent. That's the concern I have right now. And against a team in Boston that is probably going to dispatch Orlando fairly quickly, I think that is also going to help them. So that 21-run, nothing run can't happen under any circumstance, no matter how young you are, no matter how new you are to the playoffs. Unfortunately, it happened to Detroit, and that's one of those series defining. This series ended right now. I would not be surprised if the Knicks handle them and dispatch it in 5.
Yeah, it could end up happening that way. Tough for a young team like that to blow a lead. Knicks Boston would be a fun second round series for
who?
For 5 games
who?
For Boston.
I was about to say
for Boston. Yeah, the Knicks will. I don't think the Knicks can handle that series. Konata Edwards, my man, not a describe on Twitter. Thank you very much, my friend. You were stunned that Cooper Flagg declared for the NBA draft, weren't you?
I was so stunned. Yeah. I was so stunned that man made an obvious $40 million decision. So obvious. so stunned that he did
exactly.
That. He chose the money.
Exactly. Oh, man. You're the best. I'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon, man.
You got it. Cooper Flagg declared for the draft. Konata Edwards did not make a $40 million decision to come on this show.
Even though he's worth it.
He's absolutely.
We just don't have
If I had $40 million, I would give it to him just to come on the show.